Hey, so I have a confession to make. I'm a geek. I don't think anybody who sees my background back here was surprised too much about that. But for most of my teenage years, I played tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons. Well, almost exclusively Dungeons and Dragons. As proof, I've got my bona fides right here. Anybody who knows how old this book is, I believe 1989 was whenever this was published. This is an old book. A couple of years later, when I was in college, one of my friends there introduced me to a game called Shadowrun. Basically, which took the dwarves and elves and all that from Dungeons and Dragons and imported them into a dystopian future cyberpunk dark world where the government and mega corporations used invasive surveillance techniques and all the data they could scrape on everybody in this world to control them and ruin things. Everybody in this world had to have a system identification number or a SIN. And really, in order to be a protagonist in this game, you were someone who somehow didn't have one of these system identification numbers, who was sinless. And so I played that game for years. And it was actually while I was still playing that game that a movie called Minority Report came out in 2002. Tom Cruise played a cop who was part of a special police unit that used psychics to go out and arrest people before they committed crimes. In the movie, a trio of psychics was used to predict when murders were going to happen, and cops would show up and arrest the person despite not having actually done anything wrong. And they would put them in an electronically induced coma and hold them in prison. Now, why am I talking about this? So, we all know phones can track your whereabouts, spy on you to recommend ads. We all know. We've all had that experience where we've said something out loud and then suddenly we see a ad on our phone for that exact product or genre of product. So we all know there's a lot of information that our phones are gathering about us in the background without us even thinking about it or knowing about it. Um, we all know that governments and private companies hoard data, selling a lot of that their contact information like email addresses, phone numbers, all that stuff to each other. Now we can take some comfort in the fact that things like medical data, buying patterns, criminal history, these are kind of all held in separate databases. To help protect your privacy, these information streams don't really touch each other and aren't currently cross-referenced. However, the Trump administration has now, it's been revealed, started doing exactly that, or at least trying to do exactly that. So it looks like this article from a few days ago, Trump's trying to build an unprecedented spy machine that could track Americans. According to the report, a push has been made to put a key Palantir product called Foundry into at least four federal agencies, including DHS and Health and Human Services. Widely adopting Foundry, which organizes and analyzes data, would pave the way for Mr. Trump to easily merge information from different agencies, government officials said, creating detailed portraits of Americans based on government data. The Trump administration has already sought access to hundreds of data points on citizens and others through government databases, including their bank account numbers, the amount of their student debt, their medical claims, and disability status. Mr. Trump could potentially use this information to advance his political agenda by policing immigrants and punishing critics, Democratic lawmakers have pointed out. So, the current government wants to start going beyond even the far-reaching legalities of surveillance that the Department of Homeland Security's already been doing for the last 25 years. And they found a tech firm to help them do it, a company called Palantir. So, who is Palantir?
It's extremely lethal technologies and surveillance technologies that are highly invasive and used in war zones is something else entirely.
It's 2025. We're all kind of used to government surveillance. The idea that we're all being watched all the time and don't own our own personal data has become normalized. We're also used to the military spending vast amounts of our money on just a few giant defense contractors. But one tech company wants to change both of those things
and become the ultimate military contractor and the ultimate arbiter of all of our data.
Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
Check out.
Why is it all these guys, I think I've said this before, all somehow look like supervillains right off the bat, like members of Batman's rogue gallery? Anyway.
Palantir shares surging 22% after the company cited a boom in demand for its AI software from the U.S. government.
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am.
Palantir, a tech company based here in Denver, claims they can revolutionize government systems with their data analysis software, newly powered by artificial intelligence.
They've been hired by the Department of Defense, the FBI, local police departments, and even the IRS and Wendy's to take in the information those organizations collect even more information, and use that data to draw conclusions.
And just to prove that not all geeks are just benevolent and lovable guys,
they named the company Palantir after the Palantiri from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
In Lord of the Rings, a Palantir stone is a magical object that allows its users to predict the future or to see what's going on in a remote location.
It was originally created by the elves. It was meant to be used for good purposes. It is potentially a very dangerous technology. It's very powerful.
Long have you hunted me?
So that's Palantir. Palantir knows everything about you. This is an article from about 5 or 6 years ago by Bloomberg that talks a little bit from back then about how the Peter Thiel founded data mining company is using war on terror tools to track American citizens. So who is Peter Thiel? Well, he is a conservative backer, donor, billionaire, and he has a long history of wanting to do things his way regardless of what the people want. This is from, I believe it was 2009 at a conference that he was at, where he talks about essentially the origin of his master plan.
The initial founding vision was that we were going to use technology to change the whole world and basically overturn the monetary system of the world. We could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
You might think of
what he means by technology as an alternative to politics is he means using technology to overthrow the will of the people. That instead of a democracy where everyone gets a chance to participate, these tech oligarchs, these billionaires who have access to all this power through technology and through their communications with people in the government, can make decisions unilaterally about how your life is supposed to go and how the culture and government of America is run. And when it comes to Palantir, he's not the only one with that idea.
And here's Alex Karp in 2009 on civil liberties with regards to Palantir's work.
The central question, in my view, of civil liberties is how, it's not if the government has data, because let's assume the government has as much data as a health insurance company. It's how is that data being used? Is it being used in a way that's lawful? Meaning, do they have the right to use it? And is it being migrated into places it's not allowed to be used? We allow We allow the enforcement of rules that the government ought to enforce. And by the way, my experience is they want to enforce, or at the very least know they need to enforce. And if it's framed in that way, then you can have what is the ultimate Silicon Valley solution.
One co-founder openly wants to use the power of the tech industry to affect politics. The other wants his company to have oversight over how the government data they're paid to handle is used.
And
so that's it. I mean, that gives the whole game away. In the end, these guys, Trump and his powerful allies, want to use a company, a defense contractor, to ramp up spying efforts on its citizens and to let AI scrape all known records in various government agencies to create a robust and complete picture of you and your family and of all Americans. So with the current abductions of people off the street by the Trump administration that we've seen recently, how long will it take for them to use this info, just like the cops in Minority Report do, to disappear people because they think they might possibly commit a crime or just act in a way that the administration doesn't like? Or maybe worse, what's to stop them from threatening or even blackmailing people into being compliant with their illegal acts, to silence critics of the administration? I'm sure many of you are smart enough to imagine the creative ways that medical info could be used to leveraged against you or your family, or how intimidated you might be to find out that the government knows exactly where you are, who you're meeting, what you buy and even eat. What would they be able to do? Who would be able to act against a regime with that kind of power? And that's what they really want. This is what those who currently in power want to have, and we've always wanted to have over everyone, and now the technology is there for it. They want total control. They want to be able to suppress and threaten and frighten everyone into going along with the acts that we're currently trying to resist, either with protest or through the courts or just in media trying to call them out on it. So how far are we from that cyberpunk dystopia where the government has the ability to target anyone at any time because they've got all of your data and know everything about you? Everything. All the time. And I don't have the answers on what we do about this, because there's already so many influential people who are making this happen right now, who've been working for decades to develop the technology and the power structure to be able to combine all this data on everyone. So this video is for informational purposes only, because I don't have a good way out, guys. We have to work together and we have to figure something out to stop these guys. But that doesn't mean we don't fight. And it's not hopeless. I don't mean to give that impression. In fact, I think the clue is in the branding that's already there. The branding that they chose. Fellowship was what stopped the big bad in Tolkien's tales. We need to keep community and grow it. We need to find that group of people who have our back, and then we need to have theirs. They can pick us off one by one, but together we can stand up to them and we have a chance to force change. And it's the only chance we've got. Hey guys, if you liked that video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. Doesn't cost you anything and it really helps the channel out. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Keep fighting.